What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ Prospect Profiles. Excuse me. Today, I'm going to focus in on Sven Andrighetto of the Royan Noranda Huskies of the Q, undrafted Swiss player from the last two drafts. He's eligible in 2013. I think he'll be a third or fourth round pick. Really a dazzling offensive player. I know play devil's advocate and say he's one of the older players in the draft, so he should be putting up numbers like that. But I think 98 points in 53 games like he posted this year aren't necessarily indicative of just being 20 years old. I think skill level has something to do with it, and it's easier to gauge a kid at 20 than it is at 18. You look at the NFL draft. That's the beauty of drafting a kid with 3 years of college football. 21 or 22, or 3 to 4. In some cases, 5 with the red shirts. It's easy to see where they are in terms of physical development and what they'll be down the line when they're little, when they get a few more years against high-level competition. And the NFL still gets plenty of picks wrong, but I think I'm shocked he wasn't drafted last year. He had a great first season in North America with the Huskies, put up 74 points in 62 games. And then, I want to talk about this year in the playoffs. He had 30 points in 14 games, averaged better than 2 points a game. And, I think he's going to make a one GM look very, very smart in the third or fourth round. And I think he'd make a GM look very smart last year or the year before. The offensive skill set is there, and I think he's going to continue to develop. He's already improved his defensive game exponentially since coming over to North America. And Swiss hockey's on the up and up. You're looking at, I know he's had his ups and downs, but, Nito Niederreiter, among other guys. Marco Mueller is going to be a pretty high pick out of Switzerland this year. So there's some other guys that have been drafted moderately high. And, I think he's going to be a value pick later in the draft that, he can play in the AHL next year, much like Tanner Pearson. The LA Kings first round, he won't go that high. But, the big another knock on him is the size. He's 5'10", 175 pounds. But size is always going to be an issue with smaller guys. I know it's not like an idiot saying that, but thank you, Captain Obvious. But I think if you're able to look past the size and give those smaller guys a look, Hobbs, like I said, I think I said this in another prospect profile, a quote by Theo Fleury, big guys are going to get repeated chances until they prove they cannot play, where smaller guys get one chance to prove they can play, or limited number of chances. And I think that's what you're getting with a guy like Andrighetto. And I think you give him a chance, I think he'll definitely make something of it. And one thing I think that hurt him was the lockout. I think a team would have had him in training camp. Someone definitely would have taken rookie camp, but he would have had a look at a training camp, and maybe that would have impressed scouts one way or another. But I think he'll be a good pick in the 4th or 5th round. I think he'll be a guy that'll still need some AHL seasoning, but you know what you're getting out of him. I still think there's some untapped upside, and you can make a GM look very, very smart. A guy that comes over from, in terms of hockey, a developing European country, not financially one of the richest countries in the world, Switzerland. But comes over and does very well in the queue. I think he'll be a good value pick. I can't reiterate how much that's my stance on him, but I think he'll be someone to watch. Anyway, that's all this episode of the Power Play with CJ Prospect Profiles on Sven Andrighetto of the Royan Noranda Huskies of the Q. Stay tuned for more episodes through the season and beyond. Later, guys.